Hey everybody, welcome to the Something Like Barbecue YouTube channel. My name is Zach, and today we're cooking a tri-tip. Now I know that most backyard barbecuers like myself have their perfect way of cooking a tri-tip, and that's awesome because there's so many great ideas out there. In this video, I'm going to show you how I like to cook mine and how my family likes it. There's a lot of different ways to cook a tri-tip. This is how we like it. Let's get right into it, and we'll go over more details as the cook goes on. So here's our tri-tip. This we got at our local grocery store. It's 2.84 pounds and it came in at just around $22. One thing I really like about tri-tip is how affordable it is, and it's a big piece of meat so you can feed a lot of people. I really enjoy this cut. My family and I, we eat this a few times a month. So as you can see, there's not much fat on here. You can usually get tri-tip from your local grocery store, either trimmed or untrimmed. Now this was advertised as trimmed, and this is the part that they display. Now if you flip it over, as you can see, you have large portions of fat, and sometimes you'll even get more than this. We got pretty lucky on this one. So I'm gonna start by go ahead and trimming my tri-tip. I don't have to get too crazy with it. You can cut off as much as you want, you can leave as much as you want. I like to trim it down pretty good. I'm just gonna be peeling all of this back and slicing and peeling as I go. So let's go ahead and trim it up real quick. Now you can see I didn't get too crazy with it, but just a little bit of trimming and I got all this fat off. And I still have a decent amount of marbling that's really gonna melt down into that meat during the cook. Now that our tri-tip is all trimmed up, we're gonna add some flavor. One of my favorite things about tri-tips is that you can pack so much flavor. They do taste great with just salt and pepper, but me personally, I like to really pack as much flavor in there as I can. I like to do a rub, and then on top of the rub, I even do a marinade. I know it sounds crazy, but that's just the way we like to do it. It has a lot of flavor. I really enjoy it. Maybe you will too. So, for my seasoning, I use Meat Church Holy Cow, and I will link their website in the description below. And I've got a lot of cool stuff from these guys. And now we're gonna go ahead and season our meat. Gonna do a rub on there. So let's see how it goes. Now, when I'm adding rub or seasoning to my tri-tip, I go very generously because even though you're putting a thick coat on the outside of the meat, it's usually cut into small pieces or very thin strips. So each bite is actually getting a small amount of the rub. So I'm gonna go ahead and do the whole thing here till it's pretty generously coated. I'm gonna get the side here, get all that going on. We'll flip it over here and I'm gonna get the back side. Now, my meat is actually going to sit in the fridge overnight because I'm preparing this for a family barbecue tomorrow, which will definitely add to the flavor, but that's not necessarily a must do. You can do a marinade or rub and let whatever cut you're cooking, sit for a couple hours or whatever, and you're still gonna get some really good flavor out of it. Of course, the longer you let it sit, the better, or it could be worse if you're doing a brine. So it just depends on what you're doing or how you like your stuff flavored. I think we're coated pretty good with the rub there, and now I'm gonna do a marinade. So the marinade I'm using is literally as basic as you can get. It's Lowry's brand, and this works. I mean, I have taken the time to, chop up and do my own fancy marinade, and that's great too. But when you're doing something quick, something simple, something like a tri-tip that can really soak up the flavors of whatever you're doing, something like this is perfectly fine. Doesn't cost a lot of money. You can get it at almost any store. I usually do Kinder's brand, but this was all they had today when my wife went, and this stuff's great too. So I'm gonna go ahead and get a gallon bag. I'm gonna dump this in there, put the tri-tip in there, and we're gonna get going on that. Okay, so I have my marinade here in the bag. I just poured it into a freezer bag here. I'm gonna place the tri-tip in there. Now, I have a rub on there, right? So you would think that the marinade would kind of wash the rub away or whatever, and it will a little bit. But when I'm rubbing, I'm really pressing into it. I'm really pushing those seasonings in there. And whatever seasonings do come off, they're going to be floating around inside this marinade. So that flavor is really going to soak into this meat regardless. So, and as I'm cooking this, which I will be cooking it on a Traeger pellet grill tomorrow, I'm going to set the grill probably to about 375. I'll probably bounce between 375, 350 until I get an internal temperature of about 135 to 140. And I like to go that high because I prefer my tri-tip a little on the medium rare side instead of the rare side. I know there's a lot of folks that like it real pink inside. I like a little bit of pink, but it's still real tender. Sometimes I'll even back the Traeger off and I'll cook it real low for a little bit. So I've got it all in the marinade. For my wife's sanity, I'm gonna go ahead and double bag it. That way it doesn't leak all over the fridge. I've got the tri-tip all bagged up. It's ready to go for tomorrow. I'm gonna put it in the fridge overnight. And like I said before, guys, you don't have to let it sit overnight or even 5 hours or 6 hours. A couple hours in a marinade is like more than enough. Now this one might taste extra good because it's gonna give the marinade and the seasoning more time to really soak in there, but not at all necessary. And we'll be back tomorrow, and I'm gonna be cooking this up on my pellet grill. We'll see you then. And we're back, running around town right now, but as soon as I get to the house, we're cranking up that Traeger, and we're gonna throw that tri-tip on. It's gonna be good, baby. Really got some smoke going now. This is gonna be nice. Now that our grill is getting up to temp, it's really important that we let our meat sit. I usually put it on the kitchen counter for about 20 to 30 minutes before I cook it. Because when you pull it out of the fridge and putting that cold meat onto a hot surface is gonna shock it, thus not letting it be as tender as. Okay, so we have our Traeger all heated up now. And we're gonna put this baby on there. I'm gonna come back and check it probably about 20 minutes just to see how we're sitting. Right now we're sitting at 361, 360, it's bouncing around. We're gonna go ahead and flip this thing over. That's looking pretty good right there. I'm gonna check the internal temp just for fun, but I know it's not done yet, but we're gonna see how we're sitting. Current temp, 84 inside. So we're gonna let this thing go for a while. Probably another half hour or so. We'll check it out again. All right, we're sitting at 142 degrees, which is perfect for me. We're gonna pull this baby off. Now that our tri-tip is cooked, it's really important to wrap it in foil and let it sit to finish cooking off. I'll usually wrap it in foil and I let it sit for about a half hour or so. Okay, here we have our cooked tri-tip. Cooked to 142 internal temperature. I let it rest for about a half hour in the foil. Let's see how we're looking here. Oh yeah, wow, look at that moisture in there. I love it just like that, a little bit of pink. I don't like it too rare, but this is looking really, really good. I've got to try a piece of this here. Let's see how it tastes. That's awesome. Something light, baby. Seriously, something light. Man, that's good. That's some good tri-tip right there. Look at all that moisture coming out. Wow. Something light, baby. Well, guys, that's how I cook my tri-tip. I really hope you enjoyed watching the video. I hope you got some good information. We'll see you next time. Something light barbecue, baby.